Hello, my name is William, and I'm known as the 84-year-old unknown poet. Hopefully, that'll change after you get to listen to some of my poetry. I'll tell you a little bit about my life. Um, I was in foster homes from 5 to 12 years old, and my parents got back together again. We weren't rich at all. We were pretty poor family, and through ingenuity and force, I started collecting papers when I was 12 years old. Newspapers, people would have them in their cellars, and I would go in and take them. My father registered a truck when I was 12, and I drove. So I went to the rich neighborhoods, and in the basements they would have furniture and paintings and things like that. And I was inquisitive, and I made them. I took they gave them to me actually, and if I had to buy them, I'd buy them. But most of them they gave it to me to sell. And I would go to all the antique stores and museums and everything and find out what they were. And I rented a store on Eddy Street in South Providence for $50 a month. And I filled that store up, and it did very well. And that led me to Cape Cod, where one summer they had a whole group shop there, and I did very well there. And with those earnings, I bought a new truck, and I got a shop on Dare Street near Brown University, and that was very successful. And from that store, I went to, I was there for 7 or 8 years. I went to Copley Place in Boston. From Copley Place in Boston, I went to Madison Avenue in New York, and did very well there, until the lease ran out and the building was sold to a French couple. From there I went to Beverly Hills, and I had 2 stores in Beverly Hills, and they were doing very well until the earthquake hit in the 90s, which demolished everything. And from there I went to the Hamptons, and from the Hamptons to Florida, and Florida to Greenwich, Connecticut to the Cape. And I retired, and 1 week at home, looking at all those medical ads where they're trying to get people to buy their products through greed and whatever, and just pushing them on them, and the politics was too much for me. So I opened a store here in Providence, a bookstore and jewelry store, and I'm doing well. And I started writing poetry when my wife died in the 1990s, and people who've read my poetry thought it was very interesting, provocative, and it was just very nice. And so I decided, met a new friend that he said he'd like to put me online with my poetry, and it might give people happiness and thought. So I'll start off with a poem that I wrote right after my wife died, and I have many poems. So this one starts out: "Oh, sweet time when there was a brook, and I could float my sticks and breathe the air in the lazy sun of the never-ending days, when dreams were dreams, and the grass was my bed, and the sculptured clouds were set in the faintest of blue, and the essence of wild things perfumed the air. Days of silence, where uninterrupted bliss soaked my skin, where darkness dared not intervene, where excitement riddled my every quake, fulfilling all the needs of time, when the mind knew no sorrow and the horizon was belief. Oh, these days I pray will come again, when I was very young." that's that poem. So this next poem, unbeknown to me, 100 years ago or more, William Wordsworth Longfellow wrote a poem with the same subject matter. And I wrote a poem with the same subject matter as the one I just told you. And one of the Rhodes Scholar people that read my poem said it was the equal of that poem, and probably was a little better because it was so profound. And so here it is. So, and also he stated that it was a rhyming poem, where the other one wasn't. It's entitled Yellow Soulmates Forever. On a balmy, breezy day in early spring, when I was feeling melancholy, I ventured out for a country stroll with my beloved collie. When we reached the summit of that tumultuous hill, a magical, glorious vision stood us still. For there before us in the valley below, settled in 2 by 2 and row by row, stood a vibrant, reverent, fertile sea of yellow, orchestrated to wave in every direction as we stood silent and peacefully still, peering upon the almighty, resilient, lovely daffodil. Consoled by this blissful joy, the pensive sadness hastily left without a cower, and I made a soulmate out of a flower. So when I finally close my tired, weary, weeping eyes, my mind will firmly recreate this special day and transport it with me to a heavenly place far, far away. This next poem, lately I've been writing poems on religion and the way things are now with this authoritarian person in charge, and those poems will be coming up in the next days or so, or weeks or so. They're very profound and very well to listen to. So this is a nice poem. It's entitled Hell and Heaven. This poem starts off with a dream I had that helped me visualize what hell was like. And I had a lot of aspirations. About 6 months ago, I went to a thrift store, and on the floor was a porcelain plate with Our Blessed Mother on it. And I picked it up and paid for it, and I had it on the seat of my car. When I was driving home, I ventured up to look in the sky, and there was a cloud that looked like it had wings on it. It flapped over like that, and out of the cloud come Our Blessed Mother for 2 or 3 seconds. I don't think I ever warranted that, but that's what happened. So here's this poem. This is what may happen. Converse and read this poem before you die. Submerged in the mysterious, endless body of floating water, swirling fragments of torsos all around me, affected and tormented with constant pain, though my mind is still intact. I communicate only with myself, beyond the point of hope, beyond desire, beyond remorse, beyond fear, beyond love, beyond faith, not knowing what my true sentence will be, and failing the ability to disintegrate. I believe I could have descended into hell. The proselytizing of this true dream, inspired by the devil, led me to the advice of Our Lady of Fatima. Be holy and pray the rosary every day. Abide and obey all the commandments. Help the poor and ill. Enact peace and mercy to everyone. Have gratitude for what I have. All my brothers and sisters, avoid going to hell. Walk arm in arm with God every day until we die. Let my ultimate goal be residing in heaven. This is one of my latest poems, and it needs reviewing. Heads bowed, it's entitled Prayer. Heads bowed, hands clasped, eyes almost closed, knees bent to the floor, the mind lured into a solemn request to intently speak to the almighty ruler God, applying to God for help and cures for their particular crisis and that was laid upon them at that particular moment, hopefully anxious to obtain a blissful verdict right there and then. The multitude of others seem to lose their faith in God and pray for failure. All over a 6-letter word. As a poet and being human, I beseech you to intently read this poem. Prayer is an act of communication by humans to speak to God in a supernatural way, causing an intimate friendship. In the words of Our Lady of Fatima to St. Lucy, be holy, say the rosary every day, and you will obtain the kingdom of heaven. We have no other choice. Focus on making your mind strong to no negativity. Always so possessed with strength, desire, and hope for God's sake. God is there watching and overseeing you every moment of your life. Keep praying, keep praying. In the end, the righteous will prevail. Death is imminent. Surrender yourself to God. The alternative is accompanying the devil for a long time. Is another lengthy poem in that subject. O my Lord and God, allow me to join you as a forever disciple and awaken all those I meet to pray every day, complying with the commandments, focus on the poor and the needy, gently create peace everywhere, and journey together with my disciples. Our goal to unite with our loved ones forever and ever, the joy and happiness of eternity. My fervent wish is to become a disciple of Jesus and devote the rest of my life helping and converting people everywhere. Be smart, awaken thyself, and follow me. Though some are tainted with shades of black and gray, what lies inside this formidable fort prevails around the angels and demons with eyes fixed on the court, recording and recounting the sins of men and the good deeds of the good and the bad. With a severe twist of my neck and my arm and my brow filtering out water dripping off my cheeks onto my chest, one eye slowly begins to open, and I realize that this was a true nightmare dream. With my body wrenched, I yell out, allow me to join you, O Holy One, O Almighty One, in your sacred society of disciples. Compared to eternity, the reward creating with all your love comes is happiness forever and ever. God told his faithful servant Noah to build an ark large enough for his family, which included 8 people, his wife, his 3 sons and their wives, 42 of every creature on earth. The promised deluge killing everybody and everything on earth except the population of the ark to start a new world. This should rattle our confidence. The story of the flood is of God taking merciful action to restart humanity, ever increasing evil. God was setting God was acting to restore the goodness of His creation. Think of the joy you shared with your loved ones and the daily internal happiness for you and them. Trust the Lord and the gospel. Unite with God and the Holy Spirit. Join the band of disciples. March forward to convert all you meet. So how's that?